we know from past experience and cases that PERC has decided before that one of the ways that unions violate that provision is by disciplining or punishing members for suing the union itself under the statute. And so it's one of those situations where there are a lot of other scenarios where unions can probably punish its own members without potentially being held by if the member violates the union's bylaws or constitution in some way, and the union chooses to punish or discipline that member internal to the union. PERC will generally keep its hands off of that. The difference here is that the type of speech that was involved, that Angela was using, was speech in support of her own unfair practice charge, which was, in other words, speech in support of her own statutory rights that she was pursuing. And therefore, the union could not punish her internally for that particular type of speech without being itself liable for violating the law. Hopefully unions become more and more aware of the fact that their members of their bargaining unit generally do have a statutory right to file unfair labor practice charges against them. And those dynamics for the union are awkward, I guess. But that's one of the ways that the law seeks to hold unions accountable and make sure they stay within the lines, you stay in their lane and do what they're supposed to do under the law. And it is not okay, it's not appropriate to retaliate against or punish somebody who exercises that right. So, it just makes things even worse when someone's trying to hold the union accountable in some way under the statute. They file an unfair practice charge, and the union doubles down and punishes them for having filed that unfair practice charge, which creates a whole new unfair practice charge against the union. And so the idea is to help signal that message to unions that that's not acceptable, and Mr. Rancio wants to hold them accountable so that this happens to as few people as possible. And she doesn't want other people to end up in her position.